welcome to ML Unboxed. So, here I have made an attempt to make you understand a few concepts of machine learning. So, let's start. What is machine learning? Okay, if you happen to download a lot of Wikipedia articles on your computer, does that mean your computer has learned anything? Think about it. I don't think so. So, just because you have downloaded the data does not mean your computer has learned anything from it, or it suddenly doesn't get better at any task. If this is not machine learning, then what is machine learning? Let's try to understand. So, this is a simple definition of machine learning. So, machine learning is the field of study that gives computers the ability to learn without being explicitly programmed. Okay, so here what we do, here we are trying to teach the computer using data. Computer learns from the data, and whenever you give it a problem in the future, what it does is it uses its past knowledge which it has learned from the data, and then it applies it on that particular problem to achieve the results. Okay, now as you can say, what is the difference between traditional programming and machine learning? So, why did we come up with machine learning? What is traditional programming or coding, as you can say it? Here, what we do here, if you want to achieve certain result, you write a piece of code which is nothing but a set of instructions, right? And then you give it to the computer. Your computer executes these instructions and then it gives you the required output. Now, how is machine learning different from traditional programming? Let's refer to this diagram. As you can see, here in traditional programming, what are the inputs to the computer? Data and the program. So basically, you're giving the logic and the data as input to your computer. The computer takes this input, executes the program and gives you the output. Whereas in machine learning, you just give the data and the desired result or output which you want to achieve. And what the computer does, it studies the data, it analyzes the data, and then it gives you the logic underlying it. So this is the main difference between traditional programming and machine learning. Okay, as you can see in this diagram, here the input data is nothing but the information, or as we can say, the data and the answers which you already know, and then you feed it to the machine. Okay, and the machine tries to find the relationship between the input and output, or it tries to find out the hidden patterns in the data, or you can say what is the dependency of output on the input, or it tries to find out the hidden structures and so on. Okay, this is what is machine learning in gist. Okay. Now, why do we did we come up with machine learning? Since we already had traditional programming, right? So what was the need for machine learning? Now let's discuss that. I'll give you a simple example, which is a very famous example, which is that of spam filter. So what's the task here? The task here is, if I give you an email, you need to find out whether this email is spam or not. So if you go through the approach of traditional programming, what would you do? You would study a bunch of spam emails and non-spam emails. Okay, and then you understand that, okay, there are a few words which are occurring lot frequently in spam emails, like discount, sale, free, credit, and so on. And then you analyze that, okay, then I'll design a computer program which says, if these words happen to occur in my email, then I'll mark it as spam. You'll use a bunch of if-else condition. You'll write a lot of ifs. If these words occur, then this email is spam. Okay, so this is what you do using traditional programming. Now suppose the spammer comes to know that, okay, if I happen to use discount, sale, free, these words, and my email is getting going into the folder of spam, then he uses some trick. What he does is, instead of using FREE, which is free, he changes it to FREE. Now what happens? Your algorithm or your code cannot detect it, right? Now what you have to do, you have to go back to your code and then you have to change it, like you have to rewrite a piece of code. Okay, so if the spammer keeps on doing it, then you'll have to keep on writing the code or replacing it or rewriting the code. So basically you'll end up with a long list of complex rules. so which is not feasible. It's very difficult to maintain, and later on you're not even sure if you're going to get an accurate result because you keep frequently changing your code. Now, how does machine learning solve this problem? So what machine learning does is, because you're giving it a set of data, it studies the data, and then once it has studied the data, it marks that okay, these words are occurring in the spam emails, I'll use these words as my predictor words. Okay, and then next time if a spammer happens to say that okay, if the spammer sends a different email using different words, then and you have marked it as spam, then the machine learning, what it does, it automatically updates the program, okay, or updates the algorithm to say that okay, the user has marked this particular email as spam, then I'll update my algorithm. Okay, so what you have to do is, only human intervention here is okay, you have marked that particular email as spam, but you haven't changed anything in the algorithm does it by itself. So this is one advantage of using machine learning. Here you don't have to write a long list of complex rules. Okay, so you can so it's all about basically a simple equation. Okay, this is the first advantage. So the next advantage is, with traditional programming, you cannot solve some complex problems like image processing or speech recognition, but with machine learning there are like techniques in deep learning which can solve these problems of speech recognition and image processing very easily. That is second advantage. As we have already discussed, in traditional programming you have to keep changing your code every time there is an update, but with machine learning it's not going to happen. Okay, but there is one more advantage of using machine learning, which happens to be like the biggest advantage, which is nothing but that of data mining. So what is data mining? Data mining is nothing but you're trying to find out the hidden patterns in the data. Your algorithm does it for you. So there are a few patterns which human eye can miss, but once the algorithm has studied the data, it will give out the trends analysis and the patterns which are hidden in the data. So the humans can learn more about the data using that particular algorithm. This is the biggest advantage of using machine learning.